going on, guys? So today I am here at this place called VUCA, and their entire floor, their whole building actually was down. It got really hot. Their system went down yesterday, and now I'm here today. It was a surprise call because I didn't realize it was a chiller call, and this is actually my first chiller service call. So I was a little nervous because I don't know. I know chillers. I just don't know enough to actually troubleshoot them. But eventually I do want to become a chiller tech. And I just went ahead and was like, yeah, give it to me, give me the call. But I took the call even though I didn't even know that this was a chiller call. Anyway, so I already figured out the issue. I'm just gonna run through it real quick with you guys. So I came here to the second floor. This is a two-story building. I came here to the mechanical room where they have the computer for the controls. And whenever I logged into it, I saw that the pump was in the off position. I'll show you right now. So after about 5 minutes, the first time that I logged in, it was showing that this water pump, this chill water pump, was off, and the system was an alarm because of the pump being off. So I went to go locate the pump. I thought I could do it, turn it on through here, through the system, but I couldn't. It's very limited. But usually on EMS systems like this, they'll look similar. Some of them will be newer, some of them will be a lot older. They also have graphics like this where you can actually see the system and what it's doing. It's pretty neat. Gives you a nice visual representation of what you could be looking at. But so the pump was off, and I'll show you the pump right now. It's very small, tiny, actually the smallest pump I've ever seen. Okay, here's the pump. Very small little pump. I came and I inspected it. It's running right now. But when I came to inspect it, I took this little cover off, and I spun it by hand just to make sure that it wasn't seized up. And I came here, traced it back, goes into this starter right here. They always want this in the hand, so I turned it off, turned it on, didn't do anything. I reset this, didn't do nothing. I actually there's 4 screws on top and bottom. Took this whole cover off, and I actually had to reset the actual contactor that's inside there. This button doesn't even work for some reason. It doesn't make good contact, so I pushed it, motor kicked on. I monitored the system for a bit and started cooling the building. I can definitely tell a difference in the building temperature. And I had to take off to go and grab a carrier navigator. This, I'll explain why I need this when I go up to the roof, but yeah, so. But usually when it gets hot in a building like that and you have a chiller system, it's probably due to a pump failure. The shaft is going straight into the pump, and usually you have couplings that will connect one side on the pump side and one on the motor side, and you have a coupling in the center that ties it together, puts them together. So that was the issue that came to my mind. So I already knew it was a pump issue because the computer told me. But I'm gonna go up to the roof real quick so I can show you this navigator. All right, I'm just on the roof now. This is the chiller system that I'm working with. It's a pretty tiny chiller. But you got your water in, water out over here. Going into the system, leaving the system. And the reason I need this navigator is because, let me open this up, it's because this display on these carriers, you have this display, they most of the time don't even work. I tried to erase the alarm, but it wouldn't work, so that's what this is for, and I'll open it up right now. Alright, so you have a straight connection going into the board. It's pretty much this, but handheld version. I can do everything that this controller can do, and all I really need to do is clear that alarm there. So I'm gonna do that right now. You scroll through the menu all the way down till you see alarms. Enter. Let's see, current. Okay, enter on that. T117. Enter. Oh, and if you hit enter and escape, you can actually read the entire alarm. So T117, low cooler suction temperature. I think that has something to do with the actual pumping off. And then a 302, scheduled maintenance due. So those are the only two alarms. Circuit B, low cooler suction temperature. I want to say that has something to do with the temp. I mean the water. See, and then reset all current alarms. Change that to yes. Enter. And escape. Should clear. It's already click. Let me give it a sec. Alright, after some reading, I finally figured out how to clear that alarm code. It was the alarm T302, and what that code was for is the strainer to be schedulally cleaned out. But I think we already have a PM coming up for the strainer, and I didn't want any alarm codes to be on it as of right now. So what I did to do that, to clear the strainer alarm code, was run status, enter, scroll down till you see PM, enter, and then strainers, second option, and then go down to STMN, and then you hit enter, scroll up or down, whichever, and you hit yes, and it'll clear it. And that's how you do that. I know the system's running now. I just checked the temperatures, and it is cooling down in the building, so we should be good to go on this service call. So now that that's done, I'm just gonna go ahead and close up this chiller and call it good. We'll move on to the next call. The next call, I think, is an RTU. Let me see real quick. Oh, you know what? They took that call off of me. So yeah, I'm just gonna close up this chiller, and I gotta take this navigator back to the tech that I borrowed it off of. Okay, so it's the next day, and I'm here at Lakeway, Westlake or Lakeway. I always get them confused. But supposedly there's a split system that's not running correctly. There was a tech out here the other day, yesterday actually. Said he did some stuff. He replaced some fuses, and the first time the unit tripped. Second time he did something, replaced another fuse. It stayed on the whole time he was here. Once he left, the unit tripped. So now I'm here trying to figure out why the unit's tripping. So we have these split systems. This one's running, and you have 3 more here. I'm assuming it's going to be one of these. Maybe this one, just because it's older. I already went to the attic. I saw the air handlers. They look pretty old. So I'm assuming it's probably this one. This one's going to be the oldest. The tenant showed me the thermostat. Thermostat was blank. I checked the breaker panel. Everything was still on, so I know nothing's tripped at the breaker. So I think it's going to be at the air handler. Get my lights. All right, let's go. Alright, yeah, it is pretty hot up here. Here's the thermostat. Blank. I mean, if there's power here, if there's power at the breaker, I'm pretty sure there's power here. I need a, let me see. Let me open up the unit, check it there. It'll be a lot easier. Right. Oh yeah, this popped. Fuse is popped for some reason. Something's popping. You can tell right there, it's black. So now we need to figure out what is making it pop. Okay, so I did check power right here on these two incoming leads. Usually when you have a fuse pop like this, it means that there is a short somewhere. So something in this system is shorting to ground. Could be like a loose wire that's, you know, touching some metal and then popping that, obviously. Could also be like a component like this, but I don't see that being an issue. If it was a bigger component, then obviously it'd be the breaker. So it's got to be something else. Check all the wires that are touching metal, like back here. There's instances where some wires are kind of bare over time. Since this is an older unit, there might be some bare wire exposed, like right here maybe. Can't really tell. That feels fine, but let me go through it. If I find it, I will show you and we'll get it repaired. Another thing, make sure you take the power out, disconnect it, turn it off before, you know, digging around in here so you don't get shocked. You can do a visual check before you cut the power off, but majority of the time, turn it off. All right, I came down because my little headlamp is not cutting it for me. I need to bring out the big old floodlight. And then also, since we're dealing with this constant fuse pop, I have a resettable fuse popper that I just got, and now I don't know where I put it. But here's my floodlight. I've had this thing for like 5 years. This thing comes in handy. Fresh battery. Okay, let me look for that fuse popper real quick. All right, here it is. Found it. You just simply, obviously, plug those two leads into where the fuse would go, and then if the unit pops, I wouldn't reset it right away, but you know, keep looking around. If you don't see nothing, try it again. You can reset it. So I got my fuse popper right here. Go ahead, plug this in here. I still have power off, by the way. And then I'm gonna go ahead, let me see, I think this should work. Okay, plug this back in. It's running. Oh, just popped. See? Just popped right now. Something's causing this to pop for some reason. Let me look into this a little more, see what wire it is. Okay, so I've been looking for about 5 minutes. It did trip again. I tried pulling this out just to kind of eliminate an option, but when I went to plug it back in, it still tripped. So I untripped it, have it disconnected again. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and check this this little control board right here. Sometimes it could be these little relays or something shorted to ground on the actual little control board. So let me look at that and see if I find anything, any burn marks or anything like that. All right, so I disconnected this black wire from this relay, and it seems to be working fine right now. It hasn't tripped, but that black wire comes from the transformer, runs to the board, and then from the board it runs back into this harness here, and from the harness it goes into this relay for the heater. So I'm not sure if that's bad, but check that. That might be bad. All right, so I was looking at this relay here, and then that wire I pulled off earlier from that little tiny board. I actually didn't realize that you could actually remove the board off the relay, and I left this plugged into the board with the relay still attached to these two wires, and it tripped. I disconnected it, reset the switch, took the board off completely, turned the disconnect back on, and it hasn't tripped since I've had it on. So I'm assuming it's this board here, and I checked all these little capacitors continuity wise, and I did not get anything coming out of any of them. So I'll give you a little demonstration here. So usually you should get continuity going all the way across, and there's nothing there on any one of these. I'm not getting anything on any little capacitor. So just to show you that this does work, see? So I'm assuming it's going to be this board here, and I actually don't see anything wrong with the board, but internally these little capacitors are probably all bad. So I'm on the phone with Robert Madden right here, trying to see if I can find that little board. But as I was waiting, I was wondering, you know, why would these little capacitors all blow, you know? So that I thought, you know, there's probably a reason for that. So I went to go check the heaters. Okay, so I was wondering, you know, why would this board go bad? And I was thinking, you know, it might have been the heaters, but I checked the heaters. I also checked the limit switches, and they both turned out to be good. It's a little bent from me pulling on it, but the way I checked the heaters is, so this is one end, this is the other end, so it's pretty much just a giant loop. So from here to here, had continuity, and then to check this, you check here to here. That limit switch is good. Same thing, checked here to here for the heater, and then here to here for the limit switch. See, that's good too. So I know the heaters are working. So I think my only problem is just this right here. I think this is my only problem. So I'm gonna order this, and then I'll return and get this installed, and hopefully the new one will fix the issue. Now I got that little tiny board back on, that little relay. Get done. We're just going to set this down to 73. I think I just heard it. I'm still waiting for equipment, but while we do that, we're gonna go grab a new fuse from my van. I did disconnect the W wire electric heat from the thermostat, so hopefully when this thermostat is calling for heat, it doesn't kick on the heat and causing the unit to trip. So we're gonna go down to my van real quick. Great. It's also a very good idea to keep a pack of these in your van at all times. They're not that expensive, plus you can get them with your job, wherever you work. Alright, I just turned the unit off. It was cooling for about 15-20 minutes already. Didn't trip, so we should be good to go. I'm just gonna go ahead and replace this with an actual fuse, which I got right here. Just plug that in there, and then I'm gonna close it up, turn it back on, and we should be good to go until we get that new little board there. I closed everything up. I turned the unit back on and made sure that the thermostat was gonna call for cooling, and it did. So now I'm just gonna put all my stuff up and head to the next service call.